snacks to go with their tea, and we didn't have any, so I got in the kitchen and made them some.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany, and this is my first video on this channel. This video is about Nara Smith and how she has grown in such a short amount of time. Most people know who Nara is, even if they don't watch her TikTok. Nara is 23 years old and a mother of 4. She married Lucky Blue Smith on the 21st of February 2020, making her 18 years old at the time. She would later give birth to her first child, Rumble, that year in October. Since the birth of her first child, Lucky and Nara have gone on to have 2 more children, a boy and a girl, with Nara recently announcing that she is pregnant with her 4th. Nara only being 23, with 3 kids and 1 on the way, she grew in popularity due to her videos of her making food from scratch. Both she and her husband are quote-unquote Mormons, and viewers believe they promote harmful ideologies. But I want to deep dive into why Nara grew in such popularity in such a brief time frame. So now that we have some context about Nara and what she was like before she grew in popularity, like I mentioned earlier, Nara got married at 18 years old, but previously she was born and bred in Germany, and that is where her family and siblings lived. Nara is also mixed race or biracial, so she is half white and half black. She had aspirations of becoming a model before she met Lucky, as there are old videos of her. She moved to America to live and settle in with him. Nara has been on social media for many years, even before she got with Lucky, but her content and social media began to pivot after some time. In the beginning, she would do videos about her day as a young mother and wife, and even the way she spoke was different back then, but she did not have the same following that she has now. Why did Nara grow in popularity? Many influencers have made food from scratch, but not all of them have grown in popularity the way Nara has. First and foremost, Nara being married to Lucky Smith gave her already pre-existing visibility because he was once a well-known Tumblr it boy in the early 2010s and used to date Stormy Bree, with whom he shares a child. But most of all, Nara plays into a popular archetype. She is a young woman, a mixed-race woman with 3 young children, and at an early age. Some people who have watched her content have noted that she plays into the traditional wife archetype. She is a pretty young woman with a life some young girls desire, which is to be taken care of and raise a family with a husband. Whilst Nara had her first child at 18 years old, she was not working class or struggling to make ends meet when she became a teenage mother. On shows like 16 and Pregnant, the young mothers on the show were usually from working class backgrounds and are working full-time to provide for their child. But Nara, whilst being 23, portrays her life very differently. Her life in a desirable way, a life that women desire. When she began making food from scratch for her children, her popularity started to increase. She would make biscuits and cereal from scratch while speaking to the camera in a whispered and satirical tone. Nara's content would almost come across like something out of a commercial. Each shot would show her gently kneading dough with her fingers, as she would wear extravagant clothing whilst doing so. Her outfits were featured in the video. It was not just asking biscuits from scratch, it was also different formal dresses she would wear whilst doing them, which made the consumer feel included in her content. It was not the same cookie-cutter way of making cookie videos. There was a spin to it. Nara, being a mother and having a conventionally attractive husband, also added more allure to her life. She was not just making food, but she was making food from scratch for her kids with names like Rumble and Honey. On social media, people already have low attention, so creating content and making people invest in your personal life leads to more engagement and more views. Some have also speculated that Nara has people who help with her children while she is filming and her own professional camera crew. Whether that is true or not is up for debate. As of 2025, Nara and her husband are considered Mormon, especially as her husband posted the Book of Mormon in his Instagram. However, that is a different discussion and conversation. I do think Nara and her husband are Mormon, but Nara in particular hides this aspect about herself because she makes food from scratch. She keeps her religion more private. Nara is like a blank canvas. What also helps is that there is not much about Nara and her life before being a mother on the internet. Aside from the fact that she wanted to become a model and she became a mother at 18 and she was born and bred in Germany, there is not much else about her online. Most of her identity is to do with being a wife and mother, and that makes her a blank canvas. For example, Nara is a Mormon, but unlike her husband, she does not discuss her faith and her religion online. and keeps that aspect of her life neutral. You could argue that this is done purposefully, because she knows that the Mormon faith and its values are highly problematic. For example, Mormons have some problematic views on Black people and people of color. Her husband, Lucky, has also been exposed for following Trump and social media, and unlike Nara, he is vocal in his Mormon faith. He grew up in Utah, a state in America known for its high Mormon population. However, there are still viewers who are unaware of Nara's Mormon faith, or the ideals her husband promote. What I see in the future for Nara and her content, and will her content last? Nara has 3 children with a 4th the way, at only 23. As she gets older, her content could become more unrelatable. Also, creating food from scratch is her main niche. One could argue after a while the content may get old and people may become uninterested. Nara could pivot into Family Channel or something eventually, as she has so many children already and she is not yet 30. Regardless, Nara Smith is a figure who some watch often and some do not. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you're new here and would like to support. Please consider doing so. Thank you for watching.